This morning, the legislative session has officially come to an end. Now lawmakers looking ahead. So while they were able to pass some key legislation, things like the budget, oversight for homeschooling, and limits on ICE and guns, there were several things they just did not get across the finish line. Your reporter Anna Stansfield live at the Capitol building this morning for us. Anna, good morning. So what has to wait now until next session?
Okay, good morning. This session was shorter than normal, meaning lawmakers had a lot less time to pass certain bills, meaning at times some bills weren't even brought up for discussion, or they simply just couldn't get through both the House and Senate, meaning there are now several bills that can still be up for debate in the next session. One measure that many families and schools are watching couldn't get through the legislature this year, a proposal for a statewide ban of cell phones in school. Despite support from both sides, cities and towns felt they were losing local control. And after continued calls at the Capitol earlier this week, lawmakers also didn't pass a bill regarding reproductive rights in our state. The bill was designed to keep Connecticut a safe harbor for those seeking abortions or gender-affirming care, despite decisions and rulings in other states, protecting providers as well. In the debate that closed out session last night, lawmakers were in the middle of discussing a bill that would allow local governments to ban the sale of certain animals in pet stores when the clock struck midnight, meaning that discussion will have to wait until the next session. And later this afternoon, we're expecting to hear from Governor Ned Lamont on his views on how this session went, as several bills still await his signature this morning. I'm your reporter live in Hartford, Anna Stansfield, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Anna, thank you.